Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Monster in My Pocket, a video game based on a toy line from the early 90s, with the video game being created by Konami. It's a pretty solid little video game. It's not the most complex. It's relatively basic actually. It is an action platformer, but your character only has one attack in the entire game. You can double jump and that's basically it. It's not very complex, and you guys will see exactly what I mean in just a few moments. I believe the game is 2 players at the same time. Obviously, I don't have anybody here to play it with me, so I'm going to play it solo. Let's just get right into it. So, you can either play as the monster or the vampire. Now, I'm going to play as the vampire, because that's who I beat it with the first time. I've actually just completed the game for the first time this past week. I've never finished this game before. And to be honest, I never really played it a whole lot in the past. Like, I might have tried it in emulation a couple times. Because the graphics always looked pretty good. It looked like it could be a relatively fun game. And I think a couple people on YouTube even did some reviews on it. Like, I think the Happy Video Game Nerd did an episode on Monster in My Pocket a long time ago. And it always looked interesting. So we're going to go ahead and try to run through it. Now that I have finally, visited the game and tried to complete it and successfully completed it. So I'm just letting the intro here roll out. So yeah, apparently I remember the advertisements for the toy line back in the day, the actual little action figures you can get. But apparently there was, I think there was like comics, like an animated special, there was all sorts of stuff with Monster in My Pocket, the toy line, including the video game, obviously. But yeah, the video game basically just sees you running through and attacking enemies. This is your attack. This is the attack. Unfortunately, it's the attack. It's a very close-range attack. It's not terribly useful, but this is what you have to deal with for the whole game. So there aren't any like charge attacks or anything, no special abilities. You do have little objects like this key you can pick up and use it to kill enemies with it. And again, like I said, you can also double jump. Although the double jumping mechanic is a little weird. You have to kind of tap your second jump at just the right time. If you don't do it at the right time, you fail. So the timing's a little weird on that. But yeah, that's Monster in My Pocket in a nutshell. You do have a health bar in the bottom left portion of the screen. You've also got a little indicator saying how many lives you have, which is P equals 3. I have 3 lives. You also get points, and I believe you do get extra lives from points. So that's actually very important as well. It's got a very small point system. Kind of similar to like Ninja Turtles, but in Ninja Turtles Ninja Turtles 2, I mean, it was even smaller than that. Like, you'd literally just get like 1 point for every kill. In this game, you get like 5 and 10 points, etc., etc. And, so yeah, Monster in My Pocket, it's a pretty fun game, but like I said, it's not terribly complex. It's fairly basic. It does have some pretty good graphics and so forth. And it's got that typical, beefy Konami sound, which is nice. It even has some sound effects from other games. Like, when you get hit, it makes the sound from Castlevania when you get hit. It's kind of interesting. So, there's little health containers, which I just got one. Gives you a hit point back. And we're at our first boss fight. This is not a very difficult boss. And the bosses in this game really aren't terribly difficult. There's 5 normal bosses, I believe, and then you have to do a boss rush at the end of the game. There's only 7 levels total as well. 6 full regular stages, and then 1 final boss that sort of just catches you off guard during the ending of the game, which is actually pretty clever. You guys will see exactly what I mean once we beat the game. So that's 1 level down. 5 more to go. Got an extra life. Big Trouble in the Kitchen. Okay. So much like Chip and Dale on the NES, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, you're a really tiny character, and so you're going through like, kitchens and living rooms and stuff like that. You eventually make your way outside. and then you go through other less distinguishable places. So it's a, you know, concepts like that have always been neat, but, you know, to be honest, I never really cared for the graphic style in games that have you as walking around as like a tiny being of some kind. Like, I don't really ever feel like walking on apples or coffee mugs or Swiss cheese. It's just, I don't know, the graphics are good, but it's just the themes of these games just have never really grabbed me, even when I was a kid. So as an adult playing Monster in My Pocket, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's neat. You know, you can definitely get creative with some of the level design, you know, using set pieces like this, but the game, visually speaking, to me just isn't that interesting. And it's probably just a personal taste thing. Some people are gonna think like this is really creative stuff, but so we got some flicker going on, got some good flicker, which is kind of hard to avoid on a lot of NES games. So it seems to affect a lot of the enemies, especially when there's a lot of enemies on screen at once. They sort of like, yeah. So you guys are probably gonna notice the flicker quite a bit. You're gonna see parts where it probably looks like my character has disappeared completely, because when you take a hit, your character blinks really quickly, and since I'm only recording this at 30 frames a second. Every other frame is pretty much absent from the YouTube video, unfortunately. So it's gonna look like some objects and enemies have disappeared completely. Ooh, okay, I thought he was gonna jump, sorry, run the other way. So this guy isn't very difficult either. Most of the bosses aren't terribly difficult. He does this little projectile attack. You can kind of get in and attack, and then you want to jump immediately, because then he just bolts right across the screen. So this boss fight's actually kind of funny. You're in a freezer. You can see like there's ice cream in the freezer and yada yada yada. So some of the you know, level designs are kind of interesting. But there's also a part you experience, like now we're outside, I think. We're going down the stairs. And now we're on the side of the road, and this is where, like, I think the scale of everything starts to look bigger than it actually is. Not bigger, it looks smaller than it's supposed to be. Like, I think the next level, I don't know if it's this level or the next level. I think it might even be this level. Actually, no, I don't think it's this level. We start going to like a construction yard. Yeah, this is the level where you go into the sewer. I think we fight an octopus in here. It's really kind of weird. So these guys take 2 hits. And you want to try to attack. This is one of those games where you can't just like mash the button. You don't really attack that fast. So you just kind of want to go like 1, 2, 1, 2 with the buttons, just like that. And there's a little bit of hit stun on the enemies, so like you'll hit them and then they'll stop. They'll stop moving for like a frame or 2. And this is a floating platform. Literally, it's floating in something. Some kind of water. Looks like really dirty water. Alright, got some health back, that's good. And this is our boss fight. You want to watch out for the little indications, like little bits of water splashing up. That's where his arms are going to appear. So you want to just sit outside. We need to wait for the arms to drop down below, and then you can jump in and hit the boss a couple of times. This boss is a little time consuming if you don't want to take damage. Just kind of do it like that. Just rinse and repeat. Now I'm going to take an extra safe here because I only have 2 hit points now. And I don't want to die. You can try to get in and hit him like 5 or 6 times if you do it just right, but again, I'm trying to take it a little easy. Some bosses like this take a lot of hits, considering how you have to work with the patterns. You know, there's really only enough time to hit him a couple of times. But he takes a lot more than just a couple of hits. Like, look at that. We probably hit him like 20 times now. There we go. So this is where, you know, different power-ups would really come in handy. Maybe some projectiles or something. Although I haven't played as the monster. I've only played as Vampire. So I don't know if the monster has like a longer range attack or something like that. If you guys know, feel free to post the comments and let me know. Oh, see, I messed up my double jump there. This is where your timing on the double jump is going to be just right. Otherwise, you get punished for it. Oh, it's... Huh, that was weird. I thought it was supposed to stop immediately, like the second you jump off. And as you can see, this is one of those games where when you die, you just come right back in. And that's where the 2-player simultaneous gameplay really comes into play. Oh, I messed up my jump again. See, if you don't get your double jump just right, you get punished for it, man. So as you can see, we're pretty much in like a construction yard type of setting. And the scale of everything now feels like it's a lot smaller than it should be. I don't know. Maybe it's just... I'm probably overthinking this. It's a freaking video game based on a toy line from 1990. It's like... Stop thinking about it, Austin. Doesn't really matter that much. Play the game for the game. Don't overthink it. Yeah, so these like chimera looking things, they shoot out fire and you have to jump over the fire and then kill them. A lot of enemies in this game, as you noticed, have they take very few hits. They take like 1 hit to kill. And your attack seems to stay out just long enough to kill 2 of these guys at once. More health? Alright, we must be at the boss if they're gonna give us that much health. So this guy comes out from multiple directions and you have to use your double jump. And that's it. Alright, so one more stage, and then we have the last level, which has a boss... It's like a series of boss rushes, basically. And then we fight the actual final boss. And then during the beginning of the ending, we fight another final boss. It's kind of like... I'd say there's two final bosses in the game. There's like the final boss you fight in an actual level, and then the actual final boss that you fight during the end credits. This is the kind of game where you can kind of just take things relatively slow, just kind of like wait for the enemies to come down and... Can we come back? Ooh, okay. It's good, because I wanted to try to get this, ooh, I can't get it now, it's off the screen. It's just a little too far off the screen. Oh well. Yeah, see, I wanted to avoid the bottom, because there are these, like, gold enemies, and they just have a tendency of, like, rushing you. So, they're a little tricky to deal with. I think we got another extra life. Okay, so apparently you can't jump down here. The floor is solid. Alright, we need to move back a little bit because we're too far to the right of the screen. We're not done yet. And we might die here. Yep, we died. These guys are a little unpredictable. Sometimes they go all the way across the screen, other times they don't. It's a little confusing. Oh, of course there was some health right there too. I think we're getting close to the boss. These levels aren't terribly long, so it's not a really long NES game. It's a pretty short romp. And again, it's not terribly difficult either. Like the first time I really tried playing the game, like gave it an honest effort, it's I think I beat it on my first try. Oh, I keep getting hit by these guys. It seems like it might be better to just double jump over them. Alright, so this boss, she basically comes out, she's got 5 different positions, and, oops, I figured you'd be able to duck over, or duck under. Apparently not. But only one can, actually take hits. You can try to figure out which one will take hits as they come in. Oops. And that's it. Alright, so now we're on to the final stage, which consists mostly of a boss rush. So we basically end up going and fighting all those bosses over again. So, kind of, it's a bit of padding, honestly. I kind of wish they just had a completely unique, a very unique, you know, boss, instead of just making you fight existing bosses again and again. So these drops of water, they actually hurt you. Kind of like in, say, I don't know, Castlevania 3 or something like that. Actually, they're not really drops of water in Castlevania 3. I'm thinking of like the bouncing blobs. Never mind. But they do hurt you in this game, so you gotta watch out for that. This part right here, you have to duck. These are enemies that take like 3 hits, which is tough because I have no health. And again, you're not like super well equipped to deal with like certain situations like these guys. Man, your main weapon sucks for dealing with these guys. It is terrible. You know, especially when they take 3 hits. Alright, so this is the start of the boss rush. Oh, not quite yet. But we're getting close to it. I think we should still be able to beat the game with just 1 life left. I think we can do it. Again, the bosses in this game aren't really that difficult, and even the final boss isn't very difficult either. It's all about patterns in this game. Very simple patterns. Nope, got an extra life. I think we're good. Can we exit? Yeah, okay. Now, this is the start of the boss rush. Alright, 2 bosses down. Just take some hits. Make this boss a lot easier. Not easier, but take him out faster. Ah, he can take so many hits. Even with just tanking, he's still taking way too many hits. There we go. It seems like his pattern is just kind of random. Like sometimes he comes from the left, sometimes he comes from the right, sometimes he comes from the top twice. It doesn't seem like there's any rhythm or rhyme to that boss. It's the same with this boss. Like, the first time I fought this boss, the top right form is the one that was usually the one to take damage, and now it's just... It seems completely random for this boss as well. I'm guessing, is this Medusa? It's hard to tell. Nah. Well, the hair's a little wavy, but that's probably just wavy hair. Alright, so this guy basically shoots out lightning, and that's basically it. So you can kind of jump over it. It's better to get underneath him. Or not. I think what I did before is get up like that, hit him a couple times. Yeah, just like that. It's just one of the things about playing games like this that I didn't really grow up with, that I haven't really practiced much recently, that... Like, I'm sure, like, this gameplay is looking pretty damn sloppy right now. Where you can watch me play something like, oh, game over? What? What? It said I had 1 life left, and, it's just one of those games, man. Oh, for freaking Christ's sake, man. Oh my god. I put way too much faith in the amount of lives I had. Way too much faith in the amount of lives I had. Well, at least we get continues. I was worried we wouldn't get any continues. Makes you wish I didn't take and gets that, squid boss now. But yeah, so some games, you know, some video games... when you're on your last life, it'll say, you know, lives equals 0, right? But in this game, when you're on your last life, it says lives equals 1. So, again, I put way too much faith in how many lives I had, or thought I had. Well, it's a good learning experience. We, now I know. But I prefer to figure these things out outside the Let's Play, not during the Let's Play. I prefer to do the Let's Plays in a way where I just kind of like come in, beat the game really quickly, and then end. And in this case, we failed at doing that. We were really close to doing it. That final boss was probably almost dead. We had hit him quite a few times. So... oh well, it's not the end of the world. We're already close to being back to the boss rush again. You see, I'm not a fan of enemies like this, where you're just kind of like, eh. They take multiple hits, your attack range is just terrible, and there's not much hit stun. Like, you'll hit them and they'll just kind of keep walking towards you. You're like, get stunned, damn it, get stunned! You know, whereas like, something like Double Dragon, you hit an enemy with like a kick, there's hit stun. Like, the enemies get stuck and they won't move forward, right? But in this game, there's not really any hit stun when you hit an enemy. It's like maybe a frame. You know, it's pretty bad. But your attack is slow. That's the downside. If your attack was faster, the lack of hit stun wouldn't really matter. But since your attack is slow, this is about as fast as you can attack. You know, so... But the enemy's hit stun is faster than... Or it's much quicker than how quickly you can attack. So they're constantly, like, moving forward at you before you can even, like, get your next attack out. This is all happening in, like, frames of animation. It's not like it's taking seconds for it to happen. So it's all very quick, and you've got to have good eyes and to pick it up, but or maybe understand what I'm talking about. But all right, he's down. Ugh. Gotta do it all over again. Go me. So I'm sorry about that, guys. Anybody that's still watching to this point. Alright, we're gonna tank again. Because I got an extra life. Oh, he's still not dead. He takes way too many hits. Way too many hits. So I'm pretty sure this guy always comes from the top, then the left, then the right. And then after that, he seems completely random. Alright, so he's down. Alright, so now on to the final boss. again. I'm trying to hit him twice on the, as I go up. So like 1, 2, and I keep missing either the first or second one. So I'm definitely not doing this nearly as efficiently as I could. Alright, there we go. So, you basically have the start of an ending. And you think, oh, the game's over, but then you get thrown right into another boss fight. And this boss fight coming up is pretty easy. So it's pretty neat. It's actually a really cool graphical effect on this boss. I had to give it that. Oh jeez, these enemies take multiple hits. And it looks like his shots just go wherever you are on the screen at that given moment. And that's it. We just beat the game. Took a little bit longer than I expected because of our little fluke there in the final stage, but... It's like, I sure hope that was the final battle. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it. That's Monster in My Pocket for the NES. Yeah, another action platformer from Konami. It's a pretty solid game, overall. It's not, you know, I don't think this game's phenomenal or anything, but I don't think it's bad. It's kind of above average. Or maybe see, I don't know, it's got good graphics, good sound. But it's just, the gameplay doesn't really resonate with me like many other Konami games. You've only got your one attack, you've got your double jump, which is kind of finicky. There's basically very little hit stun on the enemies, so, you know, your attack just feels like it's not fast enough a lot of the time. You're fine in the beginning of the game where, you know, all enemies take one hit. You know, the enemies are spaced out, etc., etc. But overall, it's still a fun game, though. If you see it around, definitely recommend picking it up, checking it out. Play it with a friend as well. It's probably more fun in two-player. I typically like to play games in single-player, primarily. But for this game, I have a feeling it would be a lot more enjoyable with the second player. It would be definitely a lot more interesting and probably easier to take on some of the levels. But yeah, Monster in My Pocket, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play. For those of you guys new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. I've got a ton of Let's Plays on this channel, and quite potentially many, many more to come. So, and for everybody else that is already subbed, thank you as usual. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back with another Let's Play sometime soon. So, take it easy, guys.